You open your eyes to darkness heavier than any night you've ever known. Not the comforting kind that wraps you in silence, but a suffocating void, scented with the bitter tang of incense smoke and wet stone. Your skin prickles with a chill, the air thick and still yet somewhere close. Faint murmurs stir like the whisper of leaves on a dead tree. Your body lies motionless on cold marble. There are no chains, no ropes, only the weight of a white silk robe, soft but unfamiliar against your skin. The candle flickers far across the room, casting dancing shadows that twist like serpents on the walls. You want to move, but your limbs feel leaden, as if gravity has doubled its grip. The sound of footsteps echoes faintly soft, deliberate, reverent. A voice cuts through the haze. Not harsh, but calm, certain. Do not fear, it says, a whisper that slides across the air like a silk thread. You are chosen. You are the gift. You want to ask what that means, but your throat tightens, and the words catch like stones. In the distance, a door creaks open. Warm light spills into the chamber, a stark contrast to the cool shadows that cling to your body. The silhouette of a man enters, robes flowing, face obscured by the flickering flames of the torches behind him. He steps forward, and the scent of myrrh deepens, curling around you like smoke from a funeral pyre. You have been marked by the gods, he intones, to serve, to please, to transcend. You want to resist, to cry out, to demand freedom. But all you find is silence, because you know this place. You know the stories, whispered in your village, the ones that your mother dared not say aloud. The tales of children who walked willingly into the hands of the priests, never to be seen again. And yet, you had no choice. You are no longer a boy, no longer a child of your family. You are a symbol vessel. The man kneels beside you, placing a cool hand on your shoulder. Tonight, you begin the sacred journey. Tonight, you shed your mortal ties. Your heart pounds, but you don't scream. You don't cry, because you are already halfway gone. The chamber is silent again, save for the distant chant of voices rising from below, a chorus of devotion and despair intertwined. Somewhere beyond the stone walls the city breathes, bustling markets, distant bells, the laughter of children who have yet to learn the cost of their innocence. But here, in this sanctified space, time does not flow. It freezes, folds, and coils like a serpent waiting to strike. You close your eyes, and when you open them again, the world has already begun to shift. The priest rises, extending a slender hand to you. Come, he commands softly. You stand, your legs unsteady but obedient. As you follow him into the labyrinthine halls of the temple, the scent of incense grows stronger, mixed now with the faint coppery taste of blood, ancient and inevitable. Passageways lined with statues of gods and heroes watch your every step, their stone eyes, unblinking, unjudging. Your mind drifts to your village, to the cracked earth of the fields, to the worn hands of your mother. Would she recognize you now? Would she mourn the boy you once were, or the offering you have become? The corridor opens into a vast chamber where others await, children like you, chosen, cloaked in white, faces pale and wide-eyed. No one speaks. No one meets your gaze. You understand without words. This is no sanctuary. This is the antechamber to oblivion. A tall priest, his face etched with lines of age and authority, steps forward. He speaks in measured tones, reciting the ancient rites. By the will of the gods you are set apart. Your purpose transcends mortal desires. Your submission is sanctity, your obedience salvation. The words echo in your ears, but inside, a storm rages. You recall the nights in your village at cold hearth, the whispered prayers, the fear that gripped your father's hands as they released you into the hands of strangers. You were sold, not with coin, but with silence. Now, here, you realize your body is no longer yours. Your soul, a currency traded in shadows. The flames flare brighter. The incense smoke swirls in spirals, thick and choking. You feel a presence beside your child's small hand slips into yours, trembling but steady. You glance down and meet eyes filled with the same terror and wonder you feel yourself. You squeeze the hand, and for a moment, in this chamber of sacrifice, you find a flicker of something resembling hope. You do not yet understand the true weight of the word chosen. To you, it sounds like honor, like distinction, a rare blessing from the divine. But here, in the pale light of the temple's cold halls, chosen means one thing: property. In the village beyond the temple's reach, life goes on what passes for it. Families toil endlessly to survive the scorching summers and bitter winters. Their debts weigh heavier than the harvest's yield. When the tax collector arrives, he carries no mercy, only ledgers filled with names and tallies, and a cold promise: pay your dues, or sacrifice what is most precious. That is how you came to be here. You were the payment for a debt you never understood. Your parents, silent, broken, sold you with trembling hands. They told themselves it was for the good of the family. A cruel bargain struck beneath the indifferent gaze of the gods. In this temple city, the doctrine of obedience governs every breath you take. It is etched into stone tablets, recited by priests who wear their power like a crown. Obedience is virtue. Submission is purity. Resistance is sin. You learn this doctrine in whispered lessons, drilled into you alongside prayers and chants. Your tutors, robed men with eyes like shuttered windows, speak of the gods' will as absolute truth. Those who serve without question ascend beyond mortal suffering, they say. But those who rebel condemn themselves to eternal torment. You watch others come and go children light. You, stripped of names, identities erased. Some arrive fresh, wide-eyed and terrified. Others move like shadows, hollowed by years of ritual and repression. The temple is not merely a place of worship. It is a machine designed to grind hope to dust and mold flesh into vessels of divine pleasure and obedience. Each day unfolds in precise repetition. Dress in white, bathe in sacred waters, recite the hymns. Learn the art of graceful servitude. Speak only when spoken to. Show no fear. Show no pain. You observe the priests who visit. They speak of justice and mercy, of balance and cosmic order. Yet their hands are stained with the silence of the sacrificed. You hear their debates about the nature of the soul, and wonder if they have souls to lose at all. In your rare moments of solitude, your thoughts drift back to your village, to your mother's lullabies, now just echoes, to the cracked earth that once held your footprints, to the scent of olive trees and wildflowers. Clutch the memory of a name your own like a talisman against the erasure. But even that begins to fade. They teach you that purity lies not in the body, but in the surrender of the self. That freedom is a concept reserved for mortals, and you have been given a higher purpose. The days blur into nights. The temple's silence is broken only by the faint chorus of prayers, the rustle of silk, and the soft footsteps of those who watch. You do not dare meet their eyes, because in their gaze, you see the reflection of your own captivity. And yet, within you, a question burns like a secret flame. Is this truly a gift? Or is it a cage, gilded but unyielding? The first morning in the temple is not like any dawn you have ever known. Sunlight filters through stained glass, casting fractured rainbows on the polished marble floor. The air is thick with the scent of jasmine and cedar, masking something darker beneath an unspoken promise of pain disguised as ritual. You are led into the house of clean Hansa wing reserved for those who serve closest to the gods, or so they say. Here, your days are measured by the sharp edge of discipline and the soft caress of illusion. You wake before the sun, bathe in pools of water warmed by herbs, and dress in linen so fine it feels like a second skin. You learn to move with the grace of dancers, to hold your head high even when your heart sinks. The tutors come philosophers, priests and seers, each imparting lessons masked in poetry and riddles. They speak of virtue as if it were a garment you could wear, and obedience as the path to transcendence. To serve willingly is to embrace divinity, they intone. Your body is a temple, your submission, its altar. You nod, swallowing the bitterness that rises like bile. Nights are reserved for the rituals. You are anointed with oils that gleam like liquid gold, your skin polished until it catches the candlelight like a mirror. The other children, your companions in this sacrifice, stand silent, their eyes hollow but resigned. Sometimes, a visitor arrives, men cloaked in fine fabrics, faces veiled in shadows. They speak in whispers, their fingers tracing lines across your skin, their breath cold against your ear. The first time you are called to their chambers, your body betrays you. You tremble, your voice falters, and tears burn behind your eyes. But the priests assure you, this is the will of the gods. You learn quickly, resistance is met with cold disapproval or worse. Inside you, something fractures. The boy who once dreamed of running through olive groves fades like a ghost. In his place rises a hollow shell, polished, compliant, obedient. But beneath the surface, a storm brews. One evening, as you lay beneath a sky heavy with stars, you overhear a conversation between two priests. He is progressing well. One says, soon he will be ready to embody the divine will completely. And what of his spirit? The other asks, spirit is a luxury for mortals. The divine requires only the body. You close your eyes, swallowing a scream that has nowhere to go. Days blur into weeks. You learn to anticipate the moods of your masters, to offer the smiles they desire and hide the terror beneath. You perfect the art of invisibility, becoming a shadow among shadows, a whisper without sound. A visitor, a philosopher of some renown, once told you true power lies in surrender. He smiled as his hand lingered too long on your shoulder. You hated him for it. Yet, in the solitude of your cell, you find small acts of rebellion silent and invisible. A stolen glance at a forgotten statue, a whispered prayer in a language long buried, a memory of laughter shared with a sister, now lost to time. These fragments of your former self cling to you like life rafts in a sea of despair. But the temple demands perfection. Imperfection is punished swiftly through isolation, deprivation, or the cold sting of a whip. You watch as others break under the weight, their eyes dulling, their voices fading into silence. And you wonder how long you can hold on before you become like them, a ghost, a vessel emptied of hope. Yet even as the light fades within you, a flicker remains, a question that refuses to be silenced. Is this truly service to the gods, or is it the worship of cruelty disguised as faith? The mirror in the chamber reflects a stranger. Your eyes, once bright with youthful hope, now flicker dimly beneath heavy lids. Your posture is rigid, your face a carefully maintained mask of serenity. The priests praise your progress, show you have embraced purity, shed the distractions of mortal desire. Yet inside, you feel nothing. Memory is a traitor. Names fade like whispers on the wind. The smell of your mother's cooking, the warmth of your father's embrace, the sound of your village children's laughter all retreat behind a wall of silence. You are told that this is necessary. To serve the gods, you must be hollow. To be holy, you must be empty. Your tongue has learned new words chants in a language older than time. Your hands know rituals practiced for centuries, but your heart no longer recognizes the meaning behind them. A priest once told you, the soul is a vessel to be filled with divine light, not burdened by earthly woes. You try to believe, but the vessel leaks. You no longer speak of your past, no longer recall your given name. Even your reflection seems unfamiliar, a pale ghost etched in glass. Visitors come, noblemen, scholars, priests. They admire your beauty, your grace, your submission. They do not see the cracks beneath the surface. They do not hear the silent screams trapped inside your bones. One evening, a foreign philosopher visits the temple. He observes the rituals with a detached curiosity. Turning to a priest, he remarks, such practices are the price of order and stability. The priest nods solemnly. You wonder if they have ever tasted freedom. Your days are a blur of light and shadow, a cycle of preparation and presentation, of offering and erasure. You have learned to anticipate the whims of those who come to see you not as a person, but as a symbol, a living idol, perfect and untouchable. But perfection is a cage. You remember the boy who ran barefoot through olive groves, the boy who dreamed of freedom and laughter. He is gone, replaced by a hollow figure who moves without thought, smiles without feeling. You are a vessel empty, yet full of expectation. Yet, amid the emptiness, a flicker remains. When the temple sleeps and the halls fall silent, you trace your fingers along the cold stone walls. You whisper a name one you no longer know belongs to you, a prayer to gods who may not listen. Your body is adorned with jewels and fine linens, but your soul is stripped bare. The temple's doctrine is clear. Purity demands sacrifice, and sacrifice is the death of self. You wonder, sometimes, if you are still human, or merely a shadow cast by the gods' indifference. Among the shadows of this temple, there exists a man named Iosif. To the outside world, he is a saint, a man of mercy and salvation. To those within these sacred walls, he is a paradox, a savior and a tormentor intertwined. Iosif's hands are soft, practiced in healing. He moves quietly, offering whispered comforts and fragrant salves. Children who suffer under the temple's cold gaze find brief respite in his presence. You remember the nights when he bent over your bruised skin, murmuring prayers you could not understand but longed to believe. Yet kindness in this place is a currency, traded and bartered as coldly as obedience. Iosif once told you, better to be worshipped than forgotten. His eyes held a truth that chilled you more than any whip. You heard rumor children saved from the markets, ransomed by Iosif's secret gold. Yet those same children were brought here, cloaked in purity and expectation, to serve a different kind of master. One evening, as the torches flickered low, Iosif spoke to you. Quietly, they believe this place is salvation, but salvation is a lie. You are both gift and sacrifice symbols in a play written by those who will never understand your pain. His words echoed a bitter freedom. You wonder if Iosif himself is trapped, a prisoner disguised in mercy, bound by a system he cannot escape. The temple is a stage of contradictions where love and cruelty dance hand in hand, where the kindest touch often hides the sharpest blade. You watch as Iosif performs his acts of grace, binding wounds, easing pain while the priests prepare the next offering. The cycle continues, relentless and unforgiving. You realize that in this place, kindness can be a weapon, and cruelty can wear a mask of compassion. And you, the chosen, remain caught between the two, never free, never whole. One dawn, the temple doors open, and they bring a child. You watch as they lead him through the marble corridors, a boy no older than you once were. His eyes are wide with fear and wonder, shimmering pools of innocence in a sea of shadows. He does not yet know the meaning of chosen, nor the price it demands. He clutches a ragged cloak, hands trembling. When his gaze finds yours, he sees not a spectre, but something else, perhaps a guardian, perhaps a ghost of what he might become. You step forward, offering your hand. He hesitates, then takes it, gripping tightly as if it could anchor him to a world beyond these walls. In whispered moments, you teach him what the priests do not. How to bend without breaking. How to smile when the heart screams. How to hide the terror behind a veil of calm. He calls you angel, and for a moment, you almost believe it. In his presence, fragments of your old self shimmer like dying embers. But hope is a fragile thing. The temple waits patiently to crush it. One night, after a ceremony heavy with incense and chants, you slip a shard of broken mirror into his palm. Keep this. You whisper. Remember who you are when the light fades. His eyes widen, understanding the weight of your gift. You know the path ahead will be long and merciless, but perhaps, through him, a part of you might endure. The day of the ascension arrives quietly, as if the world itself is holding its breath. You are dressed in white linen, your body adorned with garlands of jasmine and myrtle, symbols of purity and sacrifice. The temple corridors hum with whispered prayers and solemn footsteps. You walk without hesitation, though your heart is heavy with memories both lost and remembered. The crowd gathers in the central plaza, faces veiled but eyes burning with reverence and fear. Torches flare, casting long shadows that dance across the marble steps. The high priest raises his hands, and silence falls like a shroud. He speaks of honor and destiny, of the sacred bond between mortals and gods. You listen, detached, as though this speech belongs to another life, one you once dreamed, but never lived. They lead you to the pariah structure built from cedar and sandalwood, fragrant and bright. You feel the heat before the flames rise, a warmth that speaks of endings and beginnings intertwined. As the fire climbs, your thoughts drift not to gods, not to glory, but to the boy clutching the shard of mirror in his trembling hands, to the village left behind, to a name forgotten in the ashes of time. Your voice is silent now, but a part of you speaks in the crackle of the flames, a testament to a life stolen and a spirit unbroken. The crowd weeps, tears mingling with smoke, mourning the loss of their gift, their hope, their offering. But in the rising smoke, there is no escape. only the eternal echo of a truth too bitter to speak aloud. The gods demand sacrifice not just of flesh, but of the very soul. And you, once a boy full of dreams, are now a whisper in the wind, a ghost carried on the prayers of those who came before and those yet to come.